Supermarkets aren't really in the business of selling food. What they actually sell are carefully engineered choices. Choices that quietly cost you more money before you even notice what's happening. A large portion of the products you toss into your cart every single week don't make you healthier, and they definitely don't help you save. Their real purpose is simple: to empty your wallet as efficiently as possible. And this isn't because you're careless or uninformed. It's because the entire system is built to keep you moving fast, distracted, and too busy to stop and think things through. Coming up next are 10 grocery items that work exactly this way. Let's jump straight in, starting with number 10. Number 10. Foods with diet labels: keto, paleo, whole 30. This category is where a lot of people genuinely believe they're being smart, disciplined, and proactive about their health. It feels responsible. It feels intentional. Unfortunately, the reality is almost the complete opposite. These products sit among the most aggressively marked up items in the entire grocery store. Words like keto, paleo, and whole 30 sound scientific, modern, and trustworthy. More than anything, they give shoppers a sense of reassurance, the feeling that they're making the right choice. That sense of comfort is what companies are actually selling. The food itself is secondary. Take a closer look at the ingredient list. An $11 jar of keto peanut butter contains exactly two ingredients: peanuts and salt. Right beside it sits a regular jar of peanut butter for around $3.50, made with the exact same ingredients: peanuts and salt. There's no difference in nutrition, no difference in quality, no difference in how your body processes it. The only real difference is the word keto, printed boldly on the label. And that single word costs you nearly $8 extra. You're not paying for better health. You're paying for peace of mind, and more specifically, for the fear of eating the wrong thing. The diet food industry doesn't grow because people are becoming healthier. It grows because people are becoming more anxious, afraid of gaining weight, afraid of illness, afraid of eating incorrectly, afraid of missing the next health trend. And when fear enters the picture, spending happens fast. That's how you end up with $12 keto granola, $10 paleo crackers, and $7 whole 30 approved sauces. Yet when you slow down and actually read the labels, what do you see? Oats, nuts, oil, salt, and familiar spices, the same basic foods people have eaten for generations. The truth is incredibly simple, but most people don't want to hear it. If you eat keto, you only need regular eggs, meat, vegetables, and cheese. If you eat paleo, you only need fruits, vegetables, nuts, and fresh meat. None of these foods require logos, certifications, or trendy buzzwords. They existed long before marketing departments did. When a product makes you pay extra just to feel allowed to eat it, that's no longer about nutrition. That's psychology at work. Item number 10 doesn't make you healthier. It just weakens your wallet more efficiently. And if you've ever bought something simply because the package said healthy, diet-friendly, or approved, you're far from alone. The real question is this: starting today, will you keep letting a label decide what your meals are worth? Number 9. Bottled water. This one doesn't take your money by scaring you. It takes it through routine. There's no flashy marketing and no pressure involved. You grab it simply because you always have. Pick it up, toss it in the cart, move on. No thinking, no math, no pause. And that's exactly why bottled water is one of the most quietly expensive things you can buy in a grocery store. Think about it for a moment. You're not buying bottled water because it tastes better. You're not buying it because you truly need it. You're buying it because it's placed everywhere: at the entrance, near the checkout, and within arm's reach when you're tired, thirsty, or just ready to leave. A $2 bottle doesn't feel like a problem. But one bottle a day turns into something very different when you stretch it across weeks, months, and years. The actual cost to produce that bottle of water is only a few cents. Everything else you're paying for goes toward plastic, shipping, branding, and the comfort of familiarity. Many bottled waters are little more than filtered tap water sealed inside plastic. But once it's in a bottle, your brain automatically treats it as more valuable. At that point, you're not really drinking water anymore. You're drinking a habit. The most dangerous part is how invisible the spending becomes. You don't remember how much you've spent on bottled water. It doesn't feel like shopping. It's not like choosing meat, fruit, or bread. It's a reflex. And purchases made on reflex are usually the ones that drain your wallet the fastest. If every person in a household drinks just one bottle per day, that family can lose hundreds of dollars a year without ever noticing. And that's before you even factor in the plastic waste. Every bottle adds more trash, more hidden cost, and more exposure to microplastics, things you don't see immediately but still pay for. Even if you completely ignore health and environmental concerns, the financial math is still obvious. Filtered tap water at home costs almost nothing. A single water filter lasts months. A reusable stainless steel bottle can last for years. Yet habit keeps pulling people back to the water aisle again and again. Item number 10 takes your money by making you afraid of eating the wrong foods. Item number 9 takes your money by making sure you don't ask questions at all, because not everything that feels cheap in the moment is actually cheap over a lifetime. And the real question isn't whether you drink bottled water, it's whether you're doing it without even realizing it. Number 8. Fresh bakery pastries and baked goods. You don't usually buy these because you're actually hungry. You buy them because the smell gets to you first. The aroma of warm bread, melted butter, sugar, and vanilla fills the air and reaches your brain before logic even has a chance to respond. That isn't random. Grocery stores understand that scent is more powerful than any sale sign. When you walk past the bakery, your emotions turn on instantly, and your reasoning slows down, just long enough. Suddenly, a $4 muffin feels reasonable. A brownie priced between $3 and $5 seems like a small indulgence. But what most people don't realize is that these items often carry profit margins close to 60%. You're not paying for ingredients. Flour, sugar, butter, and eggs are some of the cheapest items in the store when bought separately. What you're really paying for is a moment of weakness, a quick hit of comfort that feels harmless in the moment. You're not purchasing baked goods. You're buying a few minutes of emotional reward. Another important detail: these pastries are almost never on your shopping list. You don't walk into the store planning to buy a muffin or a brownie. You pick them up on the side. And it's these unplanned emotional add-ons that quietly cause the biggest leaks in a grocery budget over time. Your brain remembers the smell. It remembers the sweetness and the relaxed feeling that comes with it. What it doesn't remember is the number printed on the receipt. That's why the same purchase happens again and again without ever feeling like overspending. Supermarkets understand this perfectly, which is why the bakery is placed where you're most likely to pass by. Warm lighting, soft colors, scents pushed through the space. Some stores even use artificial aromas to recreate the feeling of something fresh coming out of the oven. Everything is designed to make you pause for just a few seconds, and those few seconds are enough for the decision to be made without conscious thought. No one is saying you shouldn't eat pastries. The real issue is why you're eating them. A $2 box of baking mix can make an entire tray of treats at home. Yet a single small pastry at the bakery counter is framed as a well-earned reward, even though it costs many times more than its actual value. When emotion takes control of the decision, money is usually the first thing to disappear. And if you've fallen for this before, you're definitely not alone. Number 7. Big brand spices. Have you ever opened a spice jar at home, shaken it a few times, and noticed there's barely any smell left? Most people instantly blame themselves. Maybe it was stored wrong. Maybe it sat too close to the stove. Maybe it's just old. But here's the reality. Many of those spices were already lifeless before you ever brought them home. Large spice brands aren't really selling flavor. What they sell is reassurance. Those small, familiar bottles with polished labels, sitting right at eye level on the shelf, quietly signal, safe choice. So you don't compare options. You don't check the packaging date. You reach for the same brand you've picked up for years, almost automatically. A $3 or $4 spice jar doesn't seem expensive at first glance. But once you break it down by weight, spices become some of the most heavily marked up products in the entire store. What you're paying for isn't freshness. It's plastic packaging, branding, and the comfort of familiarity. Spices don't usually spoil, but they lose their aroma fast. Once that flavor fades, you end up using more just to get the same taste. And when you use more, you replace them sooner. The cycle quietly repeats. The irony is that in ethnic markets or stores that sell spices in bulk, the turnover is much faster. There are no glossy bottles and no well-known logos, but the spices are fresher, more aromatic, more flavorful, and far cheaper. The only real difference is that you have to step outside your usual shopping routine. Big brand spices don't dominate shelves because they're superior. They're there because they're familiar. And when familiarity stops being questioned, it turns into an invisible cost, one you keep paying year after year while your meals slowly lose their flavor. Number 6. Organic foods bought on autopilot. There's a moment almost everyone recognizes in the grocery store. You're standing in front of two products that look nearly identical. Same size, same type, same use. One of them has a single word printed on the label: organic. You don't slow down. You don't compare details. Your hand reaches for it automatically, and instantly, you feel like you've made the smarter choice. That's usually the exact moment your money leaves most easily. Organic food isn't inherently bad. The issue isn't the label itself, it's how that label is used to shut down critical thinking. Apples, corn, avocados, onions, all grouped together under one emotional shortcut: safer. In reality, the difference between many organic and conventional foods is often minimal, especially when it comes to produce with thick skins or naturally low residue. But you're not making the decision based on data. You're buying reassurance. And once that reassurance kicks in, questions disappear. You don't ask why it costs more. You don't pause at the price. You don't question whether paying 30 or 40% extra actually makes sense. You just think, I'm doing something good. The irony is that this mindset often creates trade-offs elsewhere. You buy less fruit because it's more expensive. You cut back on meat because the budget feels tighter. You limit variety because you have to be more selective. And yet, you still walk away believing you're eating better, simply because the label looks cleaner. Supermarkets know this psychology well. That's why organic sections are almost always brighter, more organized, and designed with softer colors. They don't need to persuade you with facts. They just need to remove any guilt associated with paying more. Once morality is attached to a product, price becomes a secondary concern. Food doesn't nourish your body through labels. It nourishes through freshness, balance, and the habits you repeat every day. When a purchase makes you spend extra just to feel like a better person, that's no longer mindful eating. It's an invisible fee, money exchanged for peace of mind. Most people don't notice it until they look at the receipt later. Number 5. Single-serve packaged snacks. This category is especially popular with people who always feel short on time. No time to cook, no time to portion, no time to prepare. And supermarkets know this mindset inside and out. Single-serve snacks are designed to make you feel organized, controlled, and efficient, as if you're doing everything the right way. But what you're actually buying isn't convenience. You're buying permission to stop thinking. A small snack pack here, a single-serve cookie there, a box clearly labeled one serving. Each item only costs a few dollars, so tossing it into your cart doesn't feel like a decision at all. Yet when you break it down by weight, these products often cost 2 or even 3 times more than their larger counterparts. You're not paying for better food. You're paying for someone else to divide it up, wrap it in eye-catching packaging, and sell it back to you as a solution. Many people believe these products help with portion control. In reality, the opposite usually happens. A small pack is gone before your brain even registers that you've eaten. So you open another, then another. By the end, you've eaten more, spent more, and created more waste, while still believing you stayed in control. Families with young children are especially targeted. Bright colors, playful designs, phrases like lunchbox friendly or perfect on the go. But it's exactly this promise of ease that slowly tears holes in the budget. Each grocery trip shows only a small increase. No big shock, just a steady drain that's easy to miss. Take a look inside your kitchen cabinets. You'll probably find lots of small packages, each one offering only a few minutes of use. You don't remember when you bought them. You don't remember why you bought so many. You only notice how quickly they disappear. And the money disappears the same way. Single-serve snacks don't empty your wallet in one purchase. They train you to pay extra for busyness. And once that becomes normal, it gets harder to tell the difference between convenience and what it actually costs you. If this sounds familiar, the next parts of this video are worth sticking around for. And if you want more content that cuts through everyday shopping habits and gets straight to the truth, subscribe to the channel. Because item number 4 looks cheap at first, but its real cost is hidden somewhere else entirely. Number 4. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Those trays of pre-cut fruit look refined and effortless. Everything is neatly arranged. No knife, no cutting board, no cleanup. At first glance, it feels like you're saving time. In reality, you're purchasing time and paying a surprisingly high price for it, even if that price isn't stated outright. A container of pre-cut watermelon can cost close to $7. Sitting right next to it is a whole watermelon priced just over $3. Same fruit, same original quality. The only real difference is that someone spent a few minutes cutting it for you. And those few minutes end up costing almost double. Not because the task is difficult, but because the store knows you're tired, busy, and not in the mood to come home and add one more chore to your day. What most people don't realize is that fruits and vegetables start losing nutrients and freshness the moment they're cut. Once exposed to air and light, and handled by more people than you might expect, they spoil faster. So you're not just paying more for the same food. You're often buying something that won't last as long and is more likely to go bad. The convenience you're paying for only really exists in the store. It rarely lasts until the food is fully eaten. Many shoppers justify pre-cut produce as a way to reduce waste, especially if they live alone. And in some situations, that can be true. But most of the time, it simply trains you to spend more so you don't have to think one step ahead. Once your brain learns that being tired means buying pre-cut, it starts applying that rule to other choices in your cart. Supermarkets are fully aware of this pattern. That's why pre-cut fruits and vegetables are placed in highly visible areas, under bright lighting, inside clear plastic containers that suggest cleanliness and safety. You're not being pressured, you're being helped. And that sense of help is exactly what makes the extra cost feel painless. Pre-cut produce won't ruin your finances in a single shopping trip. What it does instead is teach a risky habit, paying more to do less, even when that less is only a few minutes in the kitchen. And once convenience becomes a strong enough reason to open your wallet, it gets harder to see when you actually started paying the price. The real question isn't whether you buy it, it's whether you pause to think before you do. Number 3. Trendy superfoods. You're not buying these because your body is suddenly missing something. You're buying them because they're everywhere, on social media, in wellness videos, and lining grocery store shelves with words that sound powerful and convincing. Superfood, ancient, detox, antioxidant. When you hear the same message over and over, your brain starts to assume it belongs in your kitchen. Otherwise, it feels like you're falling behind. That's how small, expensive packages begin to appear in your cart. Goji berries, chia seeds, maca powder, matcha or chai blends. The price per pound is often many times higher than familiar fruits, grains, or vegetables. A tiny bag weighing only a few hundred grams can cost as much as a full sack of apples, oranges, or oats, foods that would actually last you a week or more. But the price alone doesn't stop most people. Once something is labeled a superfood, it stops being compared like food. It starts being viewed as an investment in health. What's rarely mentioned is that superfood has no official scientific definition. It's a marketing term. Many of these products are praised for their antioxidant content, yet those same compounds exist in plenty of everyday foods that are cheaper and easier to find. Frozen blueberries, leafy greens, beans, sweet potatoes, oats. Foods that have nourished people for generations just don't sound exciting enough to trend. The herd effect does the rest. You don't ask how often you'll actually use it. You don't stop to consider whether it fits into your routine. You just notice that everyone else is buying it, so you do too. First a small bag to try, then another. And eventually it sits quietly in your cabinet, expiring before you ever finish it. Brands and supermarkets don't need you to use these products consistently. They only need you to buy them out of curiosity and fear of missing out. Trends move fast, but the habit of chasing them sticks around. Each new must-have teaches your wallet to open simply because everyone else is doing it. Trendy superfoods don't magically improve your meals overnight. What they really do is convince you that health is something you have to constantly chase, rather than something you build day by day through simple, repeatable choices. And when you buy something because you're afraid of being the only one who doesn't, that decision isn't fully yours anymore. Number 2. Expensive coffee and energy drinks. This is something you buy not because you truly need it, but because it feels earned. A long day, a tough morning, a packed schedule, and suddenly a can of energy drink, a bottle of cold brew, or a chilled coffee in the fridge feels like a small reward you deserve. Each purchase doesn't seem expensive on its own, and because it's tied to motivation and self-care, you rarely say no. You don't register it as spending money. You frame it as fueling yourself to keep going. An energy drink might cost $3 to $4. A ready-made bottled coffee can easily hit 5. You finish it in minutes. But when that habit repeats a few times every week, the yearly total adds up faster than most people expect. There's another layer most don't think about. Many of these drinks are loaded with sugar and caffeine. They give you a quick spike in energy, followed by an equally quick crash. And when that crash hits, the solution feels obvious. Another drink. The beverage industry understands this cycle perfectly. They're not really selling liquids. They're selling instant alertness, motivation, and the feeling that someone is taking care of you. Sleek bottles, catchy names, promises of clean energy, sharper focus, and the perfect start to your day. But underneath all of it is a loop. Tired, drink, energized, tired again, buy again. You don't reward yourself because you're irresponsible. You do it because you've been conditioned to believe that every exhausting day deserves a paid reward. And once that kind of self-reward becomes a daily routine, it stops being a treat. It turns into a quiet, recurring living expense you barely notice. The next time you find yourself standing in front of that shelf, this is the one you'll remember. Processed foods that look cheap. This is the most dangerous category on the list, not because it costs a lot at checkout, but because it becomes expensive later. Instant noodles, frozen dinners, low-cost canned foods, and all the just heat and eat options fall into this group. Each item is inexpensive, easy to grab, and even easier to consume. And because the price is low, your brain doesn't feel the need to slow down. But the real cost never shows up on the receipt. It shows up in excessive sodium, low-quality fats, additives, and something most people don't notice until it's gone: the gradual loss of your ability to prepare simple meals for yourself. Once everything becomes pre-made, you're no longer just buying food. You're becoming dependent on the system that produces it. These products aren't designed to nourish you long-term. They're engineered to make you feel full fast. Satisfaction fades quickly, so you eat more to compensate. And when health issues eventually appear, the price you pay is no longer a few dollars at the grocery store. It's much higher, and it shows up elsewhere. Item number 1 doesn't need to persuade you. It only needs you to be tired, busy, and unwilling to think. And the moment you stop thinking, you hand your power of choice to someone else. All 10 items in this video have one thing in common. They don't exist because you're careless or unintelligent. They exist because the system is designed so you don't have to be smart every single time you shop. The real question isn't whether you've ever bought these items. Almost everyone has. The question is whether, starting today, you'll keep letting the supermarket make decisions for you. If you recognize yourself in any of these examples, you're not alone. Nearly all of us have fallen into these habits. Not because we're foolish, but because these products are designed for moments when we're tired, rushed, and just trying to get in and out quickly. That's when decisions are quietly made for us. None of the items in this video are forbidden. They only become a problem when they're bought unconsciously. The moment you understand why you're buying, out of fear, habit, emotion, belief, or the need to reward yourself, your shopping cart starts to change. Not all at once, not dramatically, but permanently. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to live frugally or track every dollar. You only need one thing: don't let the supermarket think for you. One brief pause in front of the shelf is enough to protect your money, your choices, and your control. If this video made you reflect, leave a comment and share which item you use to buy the most. And if you want to keep watching content that cuts straight through familiar habits, avoids hidden advertising, and tells the truth plainly, stay right here.